Alright guys, so I just did this amazing cocktail hour out here. It's starting to get dark, but I wanted to show you another example of the XVIVE and how I use that. So I've got the XVIVE U35 plugged into my mix out here on my EV50, and I'm throwing it to a speaker way over there because I was doing cocktail hour. I wanted to walk around and have a balanced sound without not being able to hear it if I got too far away. So I point the speakers kind of at each other so there's no dead spot, it's kind of even. So I'm just going to show how that works. I'm going to play one of my tracks here. There we go. So we got sound coming out of here. And I'm going to walk over here. This was pumping. We had a good time. A lot of guests out here and competing with the spring break traffic. So end of the XVIVE there. So another way to use it without having to run tons of XLR, not to mention it would be a huge tripping hazard out here. So it makes for a nice clean setup right here in between both speakers. I've been walking around without any dropout whatsoever in the sound so that I can hear it, and also no dropout in the signal. There was tons of people out here in between the transmitters, no issue whatsoever. Highly recommend. Hey guys, Chris here for another XVIVE review. This one's actually an update on a previous product I reviewed. Was the XVIVE U3 a couple years ago, which is a wireless transmitter receiver combination that can upgrade or retrofit any wired microphone, your favorite microphone. It's a handheld wired. You can make it wireless. It's a great product for that. You can also send, and this is my favorite use for it, you can send a wireless signal to a powered speaker, use it as a satellite speaker, something like that, over a pretty good distance without having the tripping hazard of cords and things like that. So that works really well. That's the 2.4 gigahertz U3. This is the new U35, which is a 5.8 gigahertz signal, which is where the 5 comes in. So this, in addition to having a longer range, stronger signal, you also get USB-C charging with it. You have the red line here on this signifying that it's a different model. That's the U35, and cool product. Just again, stronger signal, longer range, and I'm going to demonstrate that here today. Same as the other package though, just briefly going over, you do have your 6 channels that you can use, and in the manual it'll actually tell you what those frequencies are. I wish I had a battery indicator. It doesn't, but it technically does because it has their little light that comes on here when it's getting low. I used this for a 3-hour gig the other day, and it was on the whole time and no issue with it. It didn't have any colors on it whatsoever. It was just working, and so it still had plenty of juice left. But I do wish there was a battery indicator, but I guess the lights, basically, if you're seeing red, then it's time to charge that. Another cool feature, and I'm pretty sure this is new, I don't remember this on the other ones, but if you're wanting to find the best channel for your environment, you're not sure what channel to put it on, maybe there's a lot of other wireless signals in your at the venue, so you can put it into a scan mode and it'll automatically find the best channel to use. So you want to turn off the transmitter and just use the receiver and hold down the channel select button for about 3 seconds, and it'll go into a scan mode and it'll settle on the best one for your area. In this case it's selecting channel 1, so now we can go back to the transmitter and manually match it so that they're both on the same channel, and now you are good to go. The microphone portion of it works great. Honestly, if you're on stage and the transmitter's pretty close, you're probably not going to have any dropout. I like to send the signal to a powered speaker as a satellite speaker to send the signal, a nice clean signal without wires, and I can put a battery speaker somewhere in an obscure location, and there's no power or something like that, but it works really well for that. As long as it's a true line of sight. The U3 needed a clean, direct line of sight. If you go around a corner or have a wall in between, sometimes that was a problem. With the new U35, however, it has a much stronger signal, so that's not nearly the problem it was before, and I'm going to show you that right now. Alright guys, so the best way I know to really show this is I'm going to compare and contrast the original U3 from XVIVE to the new U35, the U35, and the difference is, of course, 2.4 gigahertz versus 5.8. The main difference is just the range. So what I like to use these for is as a wireless transmitter from a powered speaker to a satellite speaker. And I've demonstrated that in my previous video. So I'm going to come out of the mix out. This is just my EV50. I'm going to come out of the mix out monitor channel and turn that on there. I'm using the mic setting versus the line setting just because the speaker I'm sending the signal to is not very loud, and that'll give me the extra volume I need, and then I can control it on the other end so that it doesn't distort and overpower it. Alright, so I demonstrated this in another video years ago where I sent a signal out there towards the back end of my backyard, a clear line of sight and no dropout. And that's the thing with these. They're really great, the U3, without any dropout, with clear line of sight. But once you get out of that line of sight, that's when you notice a difference, and that's where the U35 comes in. So I'm going to plug it in the back of this JBL. Alright, so got that in. I'm just going to play some of my original music here on my tablet, my sax player. So if you like what you hear, I'm on all the streaming platforms. You can check it out. So that's coming out loud and clear. Got that coming out of the mix out. We've got going to the receiver. That's the transmitter. This is the receiver. I'm going to go and turn this up. And we're going to walk around. All right. So we're going to see if we get any dropout. First, I'm just going to go behind this door. And, you know, sometimes playing a gig where, turn that down a little bit, where they want like a satellite speaker inside. Maybe I'm playing an outside gig and they want a speaker inside so people can hear. So I'll put it behind this wall. So there is the speaker. There's my shoes. And there's that. So maybe this could be like a wedge. An indoor-outdoor setup. That works. Behind a brick wall, no dropout. And this is Gen 1. The U3. So when it has clear line of sight, it's always done pretty well. The issue, I'm going to turn it up a little bit so we can hear, is when you get beyond that clear line of sight. Alright, so we're just around the corner. Speaker's over there. Still a pretty good distance. So I'll put it here. To hear a little bit of dropout. Go a little further. Now you hear that. So now we're around this corner. It's having a harder time keeping up. Put it down for a second. We're having some dropout. Hear that? It gets muddy. So you can see the distance we are, though. That's how far away before we're like total distortion, dropout clarity. So let me bring it back. There we go. We got our signal again. Sort of, but even right here, we're still having some dropout. So that's the U3. Clear line of sight. It works well, but when you get around a corner or something like that further away, you're going to notice some problems. So that's where the U35 is going to come in. Let's go ahead and try that out. All right, so new receiver's in. We're going to go ahead and change out the transmitter. And it's in a mic position. Mix out. There we go. We're going to do the same thing. I'll switch up the song a little bit. Let's go with that one. Go with some vibe. The other one was Chips and Salsa. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna pole mount this. no issue. I'm gonna go to the side of my house here. A few minutes ago we dropped out just at this fence line with the U3. So we've got more range with the U35. Again, speaker's way over there. You probably wouldn't need to be this far away, but you could if you needed to. Especially with a battery speaker like this JBL Compact. Makes a nice satellite speaker. Alright guys, so in this next clip, this is from last week at an actual gig that I did. I was setting up for it, so everybody's still kind of decorating in the room. But it was a banquet hall with a faux wall on each side, those little rolling walls that come set up. So it made the room really narrow, and there was no power on either side of the room. I brought my own speakers, however they had some Mackie Thumps set up with a mixer that they were using for some other things that evening, and so I decided just to tap into that as well rather than setting up my speakers and having 4 speakers in the room and kind of cluttering it up. I didn't want to do that, so I decided to use what they had, but I did move their speaker to balance out the sound a little bit because they had them both up front, and if I was playing for dinner trying to throw sound to the back of the room, it would have been unfair to the tables up front. It'd be really loud for them, not loud in the back. So I decided to balance this, the sound out by putting a powered speaker in the back of the room and then one in the front, and using the XVIVE to send that signal to the back of the room. And it worked really well, and I'm demonstrating that here. So here we have a speaker there. The hardwire is going here. Then I'm going to have a speaker all the way over here. So you can see how far away that is. It's a pretty good distance. Alright guys, hopefully this is helpful and you can see the use of this, whether you're using it for the microphone situation or to send a signal to a powered speaker. I use that all the time and it's very, very valuable, and the fact that this is a much stronger signal than it used to be, I can do that a lot better and a lot farther without having to worry about people in the way or things like that, because with the old unit sometimes I would need to elevate with an XLR cable to move the transmitter and receiver to a higher location. So with this does not seem to be the problem or to have that problem. So again, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this is helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.